we had one other there's so many outrages. Now that we have seen all of the Texas Democratic state legislators decamp to Illinois, John Cornyn, the senator, Republican senator from Texas, who is facing a primary challenge from someone who is certainly in contention to be the most corrupt and evil elected official other than the president, Ken Paxton, and is running behind, is tilting even more to the lunatic right and formally requested the FBI to go in and round up Texas legislators in Illinois, which is illegal, immoral, unconstitutional, and of course that means the FBI said, "Sure, we'll do this."
Yeah. But let's point out that the FBI is only allowed by law to go and round up people who are suspected of committing felonies. And being a Texas legislator and leaving Texas is not a felony.
Yeah.
That no one is guilty of any crime here.
That is immaterial to them because they're the criminals, and that's the reality of what we're living in now. Um, and it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets any better. By the way, we are doing this on the 7th, August 7th. It's a banner day otherwise. This is the day when most of the tariffs that Trump has threatened kick in. And it'll still be a while before we see the full results of this. The reason being that a whole lot of companies, knowing that this was a real possibility, stockpiled imported goods and parts in advance. And so far, they haven't passed a lot of the costs on to their customers, but that will end very soon. And one of the things we know is the idiots who are running this said, okay, we are going to punish foreign automakers and reward our domestic ones without considering that almost every car and truck built in America relies heavily on parts coming from especially Canada and Mexico. And so we've already seen big hits in the earnings of Ford and General Motors, and we're going to see it with the others, and we're going to have big price increases in cars, and our economy is going to go through the toilet, into the toilet. And of course, what will happen then is that Trump will make sure that everybody giving economic statistics says to people in the face of the recession we will have, it's the most booming economy ever, having now gotten rid of the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And that's only the first step. Now we have, in addition, we need hours on this just to go through the outrages of the day. Trump putting out on his official message board, which is Truth Social, that he is doing an executive order to redo the census in the middle of the decade and not include people who are here undocumented, which is a direct violation of the Constitution and a violation of the law because the president has no role in deciding how the census operates. That's Congress. But of course, that's this Congress. So it goes on and on, David. Am I now, as a therapist, making you feel any better?
Yeah, no, I'm reaching for some kind of bottle of poison here, but that is what Trump is prescribing for the economy. His cure for everything is the equivalent of economic cyanide, which is these tariffs. If the Brazilians don't behave the way he wants to towards another coup plotting leader, Jair Bolsonaro, he imposes tariffs on them. If some of the big tech guys around him think that we shouldn't buy so many chips from overseas. He puts a tariff on them, except for companies that come and pay him, an office visit, as Tim Cook of Apple did yesterday, and give him a nice present that's 24 karat gold, as Tim Cook of Apple did yesterday. And then, as Tim Cook of Apple and all the other world leaders who are smarter than Trump, which includes many forms of chimpanzee and some kinds of squirrels, go in and say to Trump, uh, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to invest $100 billion in the US or $500 billion in the US, or we're going to buy a lot of US products. And Trump goes, see, it's a victory for me. And then he lets them off the hook. Here's what happens though. And I say this as a former senior trade official. They never follow through on the promises, right? So what's happening here? Well, I call it trade rope-a-dope. They're like sitting back there and letting Trump punch himself out, while sort of playing along with him. But essentially, what they're saying is, "Oh, Mr. President, you are so smart. Let me give you a PR victory for right now, if you will just leave me alone for," and they look at their watch, about 3.5 years. Would that be okay? Just leave me alone for about 3.5 years, or until the last cheeseburger does the worst with your heart, because then we can move on to something reasonable in this respect.